Well, this is Punters Inside Run, and we are in uncharted territory, really. Mick Sharkie joins me, as he does every week. Shark, this is unusual, isn't it? We've come off the back of the Flemington Carnival, and for the first time, we go back to Caulfield, and we've got a couple of Group 1s, including the shifted 1,000 Guineas. Your thoughts on the plan by the Melbourne Racing Club?
I think the Rupert Clark looks a little softer, Matty, than it perhaps has in its previous time slot earlier in the spring. But 1,000 Guineas placement, I think it's genius. I love where the 1,000 Guineas sits on this date, and I love the field that we've got assembled. I think it gives these lightly raced, inexperienced fillies the chance just to get that extra 4 to 6 weeks of work into them and get up into winning habits, I guess, through lesser grades. So I think this is going to be a good race on Saturday, but a great form race going forward.
Yeah, it got lost a little bit, didn't it, on the Wednesday there for the last few years. So
yeah.
I quite like it. Let's get to the 1,000 Guineas. It was a toss of the coin for me between the two favourites, between Skybird and Cool Volante. I landed on Cool Volante, but I'll be saving on Skybird for sure because there's nothing in between the two. Where did you sit?
Yeah, I've gone the other way. I'm pretty strong with Skybird. I just look at that Moonee Valley run. And I know people are sort of looking at the inside gate here and thinking it's going to be bad luck and traffic for this horse. Well, it was bad luck and traffic at Moonee Valley. And Moonee Valley's got 175 metres straight. And Skybird only really saw daylight at about 75 and still won. And what I loved about it was how electric that turn of foot was when Bo Mertens asked her to quicken. If she produces that sort of turn of foot again at Caulfield, where she's got a lot more room to get out of trouble, if she finds it, the assumption that she finds it may not be accurate. I think her turn of foot is the best in the race, and she might be something else, this horse. It might be a second Group 1 for the spring for Mitch Freedman.
All right, so with the Skybird in the Guineas, we get to that Sir Rupert Clark you talked about. Now, you know me, I tip Magic Time every time she runs, so hands up there. I'm president of the fan club. Wide barrier, it is a little bit of a concern, but I think there might be some good speed on here, so maybe it might not be as bad as it looks on paper. And then you got Michael D, who seems to have a knack of finding good runs in these Group 1s.
Yeah, look, Michael D's probably dependent on Buffalo River here and Celine Gaudray. He'll be waiting for that horse from a wider gate to shoot across the field and probably looks to tag across underneath and just slot into a spot. I think that's the tactics they'll likely try and adopt. Look, I'm going to take a little bracket selection here, Matty, because it's an open race. There's each way odds for majority of the field. So I think Ayrton, third up into this race off a race last time at Flemington where he drew wide, had to go back, basically was left with too much work to do and was finishing off really well and through the line. I think from a much better draw here with Daniel Moore up, 54.5, it's a good weight for this horse. He gets his chance to win a race that I think 2 years ago we all probably thought he'd end up in before he was bitten by spiders and everything else. So Ayrton would be one of my bets in the race. The other one is Straight Acer. Okay. Ed Cummings has taken this horse from midways in August through to running fourth in a Golden Eagle and absolutely thumping the line as well. I think they're the two that will be really hitting the line super hard, and I'm keen that they can both run well at each way odds.
All right, so a bracket situation there or betting strategy for the Sir Rupert Clark. What about your best at Caulfield for the day? It's an interesting meeting as far as the rest of the races are concerned.
Yeah, race 6, number 1, Arkansas Kid, Matty. I think it's just in its right race. I think the Coolmore form is going to be good. In the Coolmore, he looked to me like he wanted 1,400 metres. He's drawn well. This race has a bit of a tail. You're trusting horses coming out of much lesser form lines than the Coolmore. And the assumption would be that Arkansas Kid is either as good as them or, they're as good as Arkansas Kid, or Arkansas Kid's not going to be as good at 1,400 metres. I think the majority of this field have got a way to go to be as good as Arkansas Kid, and I think he's actually wanting this trip. So he's a strong bet for me in race 6.
All right, Arkansas Kid in race 6. Anything of value that we should find? I thought that interesting runner was the Peter Moody, Catherine Coleman runner in race 3, the former Queenslander, Divine Purpose. It's reasonable form up north, and it's got form around Kovalica. Whether it can win first up, I'm not sure, but it certainly piques my interest.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it goes. Has had a couple of jump outs and has found the line well. Maybe a line finder this time around before stepping up and tripping going well. I thought race 4, number 6, Material Dreams, unbeaten, 3 for 3. Nick Ryan, Luke Curry, good gate. you're getting double-figure odds about this horse, and I'm not sure why. She's a little winning machine, and I think she'll run a hell of a race in race 4.
All right, that's the meeting at Caulfield. Let's get to Newcastle. They move away from their metropolitan tracks to the provincials for the main race being the Hunter. I must admit, it's not a race that I'm probably keen to bet in. I've settled on Coal Crusher as a tip to lead and find an easier pack chasing after the horses that Coal Crusher's been racing against. Where did you land?
Yeah, again, probably 2 of some interest to me. King of Sparta, number 3.
Yep.
I think it gets up to that 1,300 metres, which is an odd distance, but it's actually a really suitable distance for this horse. He was 4th in the Kingsford Smith behind Think About It, beaten a length and a quarter, thereabouts, going back to the winter at this trip. Bobby Lewis run was great first up. Just Sydney Stakes run behind I and Me, got too far back there. And it was a race dominated but largely by those nearer the speed. So King of Sparta could bounce back. And Far Too Easy, that's the other horse. It's got a fantastic second-up record, Matty, 3 from 4. And the Kosciuszko run was very, very good. Drew wide, probably ended up 2 pairs back further than James Orman would have wanted. Jason Collett takes a ride from an inside gate. Far Too Easy will run a hell of a race.
All right, what about your best at Newcastle? I've been having some luck lately at midways, which is quite spooky, really. But I think Toes on the Nose in race 2 is going to be very hard to beat.
Nose.
I know, it's a great name, isn't it? Yeah, but comes off an extraordinary run where it was wide the entire way, still only beaten a couple of lengths, gets a better draw, drops in weight, and gets the favourite distance of 1,600. So I'll be betting in the midway, which goes against everything I was probably taught. But what do you think?
I think race 7, the Spring Stakes, the Group 3 there, Invincible Spies, 2 from 2, goes straight to the front. Looks like it can control the race. Kintyre's coming through better form lines, but this is probably an afterthought at the end of a long prep. Influentials had a trip to Melbourne and failed. Before that, it looked okay. The rest of these are fresh out of maiden grade. I think Invincible Spy can go to the front. Tim Clark will control the race in the Spring Stakes. I think it can win. And a little bit of value in the last, around $8 or $9. Race 10, number 4, Fender. Going well in stronger races, comes back to a 94. And I think this race from Barrier 1 is there for him to take at an each-way price. Pretty even field. I think Fender can play us a winning tune, Matty, in the last.
All right, so it looks like our multi-anchor. We didn't agree on anything, but the closest we got to agreeing on is Skybird.
Yeah, I think Skybird's probably about the closest you can get. And look, you can always save on Coeur Volant, can't you?
Yep. All right, Skybird, our multi-anchor for the weekend. As always, thanks, mate. Will you be finding your way to the track?
Not this Saturday. I'll be at my daughter's dance recital. So looking forward to that.
Going to a dance recital. Yeah. I'm actually venturing along to watch Mick with Hutch. So needless to say, Sunday will be a washout.
Hey, I tell you what, if it happens to win, Hutch will be voguing and striking a pose somewhere on a dance floor, as is his wont.
No, he's as good at it as anyone. All right, mate, thanks for that. We'll talk to you next week.
Good on you, Matty.
That is a Punters Inside Run with racing at Newcastle and 1,000 Guineas to Rupert Clark Stakes Day at Caulfield. Enjoy the weekend. Happy punting.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.